So the Chicago Sky's Tyler Marsh had his first press conference talking about the team, talking obviously about the Sky, and yeah, we got some very, very interesting things from this. So we are going to react to one of the things that Tyler Marsh was saying, talking about Angel Reese and Cardoso as the cornerstone of franchise. And I do think that while Tyler Marsh is there, they're going to be the cornerstones of the franchise. But for people being like championship inbound, what year do we live in? What year do we live in where you can win a championship without anyone that can shoot the ball? But yeah.
We want Camilla and Angel to be good at what they do already. We want to continue to highlight their strengths. We also want to continue to improve and figure out ways where they can score easily, or they can still be effective defensively. I think it's important to understand, though, that you know that
They say score easily and be effective defensively or offensively.
score easily, or they can still be effective defensively. I think it's important to understand, though, that you know that.
And I actually do. I like when he said that because, like, when it comes to Angel Reese with her scoring, like Cardoso, you give the ball to Cardoso near the basket, she scores. Like, it's about getting Cardoso touches where she can literally just turn around and score because she's 6'7" with really, really good hands. Like, you have to give Cardoso credit there. Her touch is extremely good. But one thing with Angel Reese that's really, really underrated is her ability to seal. So, for me, if I was the Sky, if I'm looking to build around the two of them, you want that passing, shooting point guard. And it's the problem is that player doesn't really exist. Like, it doesn't really exist. And I would like, if I, as crazy as this sounds, because you've got good defense around, I would look to, if I was them, to maybe try to sign like a Julie Vanloo. Like, that's the type of point guard. Like, you need, like, as good as Olivia Miles would be, you can't have Olivia Miles, Kennedy Carter, Angel Reese, and Camilla Cardoso at the same time. And there's no player in the draft that fits the mold because the next best passer is probably Raven Johnson, who would fit the mold even less. But like, I'm looking through free agents this year. In free agency, Courtney, I wouldn't be surprised if they try to go for a Courtney Vandersloot. Vandersloot would help them a lot. But he's right in saying about Angel Reese, where it's like, give the ball to Angel Reese with her back to the basket. She's the least efficient player in the WNBA. Give it to her on a seal. She's actually, like, she's not a good finisher, but like, on wide open layups, she'll shoot over 50%.
That they're kind of the cornerstones of this franchise. That championship teams are 1-1-12. Everyone has a huge part to play. Everyone has value. Everybody brings value. Doesn't matter how many minutes you play. If you look at our championship team with the Aces, you take someone like a Sydney Colson who go stretches throughout a season without playing that many games, and then comes in the finals in Game 4, makes a huge contribution there. You look at his past finals with Minnesota, and every game is somebody different. With New York, every game is somebody different, and so that's what we want to create here with Chicago. And everybody know their importance, everybody know their value, and how.
Okay, like, I don't mind anything he said there, and he's right. He is right about that. I think the only thing that I would like that is a question is he hasn't been a head coach, but I think they kind of know that. Like, I would say if I was making a prediction for the Chicago Sky, is they are in the tank for Juju stage. I want to see is there anything else about this here. But he has talked about he talked about as well wanting the whole team to be shooters. And the whole team just taking more threes. Even if you're not a good shooter, taking more threes. And it's like, it's hard to do. Like, if you're Angel Reese, it's hard to become a good shooter because, well, she claps her hands off each other, or her hands clap against each other when she shoots. That's a hard thing to fix out of a shooter. But you just never know. It's like, for every Ryan Dunn where a jump shot gets fixed really quickly, there is the dude in the NBA whose jump shot turned to like this. Oso Ikoraro. There's a guy who shoots. There's a guy whose jump shot turns to this. Then there's also your Kyle Anderson, who had a nice looking jump shot before he came to the NBA, Well, not nice looking. He had an ugly jump shot coming to the NBA. They tried to fix it, and now he just like starts putting the ball between his hands and like launch it at the basket. So yeah, like with those type of things, it's gonna be interesting. But yeah, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be another year of the force feed Angel Reese, and I don't hate it short term. Like you are trying, you are very clearly with the coach you hired in Tyler Marsh. They are very clearly, their goal is we are trying to develop our players. It's not necessarily we haven't hired. We had options to hire good X's and O's coaches. We could have hired Kurt Miller. We could have hired some NBA assistant coaches. We could have hired. We could have probably tried to outpay Indiana for Stephanie White, but we didn't. So the next best thing we can do is have a coach that is one of the most highly regarded coaches in the WNBA as far as player development. Have them in there to try to develop our two young players who are good players, but they do need a bit of development before they can become, if they do have star potential, they will, like they both do. They both have star potential. And getting a development coach will help them. As well as that, it allows you to suck for 2 years and also keep like morale up. Like if you suck next year, let's just say like the Valkyries are not going to make the playoffs. If you're the Sky, you can still compete in games and be in that Juju sweepstakes because everybody knows. Everybody knows like teams are going to be in that Juju sweepstakes. Eric Tebow and Mike Tebow both walked away. And people being like they got fired. No, they both walked away because they had a meeting. They were told tank. They said no. And they were like, okay, you're gone. We're tanking. So the Mystics, I think we see the Mystics getting off Sykes, getting off Ariel Atkins. So you have to be intentionally bad. You actually do, because the Wings are going to be good. Well, better. The Sparks are going to be better if they get Paige, but it's like, you got to win similar amount of games to this year. And unlike with what's her name? With Teresa Weatherspoon, where when you started losing, it just became a shit show. You need a coach that's going to, that you're going to see the process. Like you're going to need like a trust the process type scenario where you're going to be losing a lot of games over the next 2 years, but you always have it like we are going for a championship, not next year, not the year after, by 2028, 2029. That's when our window is, because we can put ourselves in a position where we're going to get one of Hidalgo, Juju, or Full Wiley to add to Angel Reese and Camila Cardoso, and maybe Kenny Carter or whoever else you bring in. If they have a good high pick in 2026, who knows? Like they're not going to take Lauren Betts, but Flaujae is going to be available. If you get number one and Betts or Beers are the consensus number one, you can make the choice to get a star for that number one pick, or get maybe another probable lottery pick in 2027 for it. So yeah, it's like I think it's a really, really good hire. And I think that if you are a Sky fan and you think that Tyler Marsh is going to win you a championship in the next 3 years, I think that's a really, really naive way to look at it. Like, he's literally talking about bad shooters are still going to be shooting threes. This is a long-term thing, and I think he's there because they know for a fact he's going to be good for development. And after 2 to 3 years, the Sky will be able to see whether or not he's a good head coach. If he is a good head coach and he's a good development, they keep him on for a few years to try win a championship. If not, he's just a tank commander. And then when they get their good young core together, they, instead of keeping the tank commander, they bring the actual coach in. So it's a win-win. It's a win-win because the worst thing you can do if you're the Chicago Sky is win for the next 2 years. And like by winning for the next 2 years, you have a coach that's like going into that mediocrity zone, especially with the 2027 draft. The best thing you can have is to bring in a person who at worst case scenario is a tank commander. Best case scenario is someone that's going to develop your whole team and turn them into contenders in a couple of years when you get your 2027 lottery pick. So anyway, yeah, that's the video. See you guys.